I'm talking about the booing of the national anthem. Well, that was it. It was there for everybody to hear. Not a good look, it's fair to say, with pictures pre-match being beamed all around the world. It's one of the showpiece events on the English football calendar. And many people in other countries are bound to have been saying, why are they booing their own national anthem? So would it happen in any other country? The Tory MP and former Culture Secretary Karen Bradley commented, "It is utterly unacceptable and disgraceful that fans booed Prince William. I would urge the FA to take all necessary action and pursue those responsible." Well, how you do that's another matter. Meantime, Sir Ed Davey, who's the leader of the Lib Dems, said, "We have the most wonderful monarch, and those fans who booed do not represent their clubs or our country." Simon, what was your take on it, first off?
Well, I'm not really interested in the opinions of politicians, quite frankly, but they do represent segments of fan bases. They do represent a certain outlook and a disposition. So tragically, you can sit there with these soundbite platitudes as some virtue-signalling, know-nothing politician, and you can look at the idea that Baroness Valsey has advanced the notion that we should be looking at a more, I think it was Baroness Valsey, talked about the notion that people should be pleasant to one another, and hopefully the culture of football will change this way. This is the culture of football amongst a certain segment of our football fans. This is what goes on. I frankly don't really care about how other nations around the world that all have their own problems and their own attitudes and issues with the Italian fans doing fascist signals left, right and centre at the start of every single game. I don't care. I more care about the way that we operate in this country, and it's completely unacceptable. It's just completely... It's one thing you can make... It's a bad case to make, but you can make a case for booing the national anthem of a visiting national side. Even that's disrespectful and unnecessary in an international game. But when it's people of the same country at a centrepiece final that people complain about not enough ability to get football fans down to stadiums, not enough people get to see games, and you have the future King of England, whether you're a Republican or a Royalist, is, you know, relatively academic, and people booing it. We had an uproar last week when the Tottenham fans were making, or someone was making, it might be Tottenham, might be someone else, someone was making observations about the culture of Liverpool fans and what they may not have to do from a jobless point of view. And now we've got fans booing the national anthem. I mean, on what basis and for what reason? What do you do with this? And this is a culture that's creeping into our football more and more post-COVID, more and more post the European Super League, more and more the way that we allow fans to believe that they have a certain right to do certain things. You have a right to object to things. You have a right to voice your opinions. Surely you don't have a right in a civilised society to boo the national anthem of the country you're supposed to be proud to live in. Surely you don't.
I agree, Simon, and I think your question's a good one. The booing, on what basis and for what reason? Now, I mean, they will tell us, I'm quite sure, those who booed. And I don't think the answers will be short, so we better brace ourselves for that. But Martin, irrespective of what anybody says, this is not a good look.
No, it isn't. And, I think this is sort of historical, and this is a sort of class issue, Jim, really, where I think the city of Liverpool feels that it's kind of been left behind a little bit. I lived there myself.
By the monarchy?
Not necessarily by the government. I mean, the monarchy actually puts the government in place. That is part of the constitution. It's part of the constitution.
Public elect the government.
We try to keep the Queen out of politics, so maybe we should stay out of it as well. Jurgen Klopp did say in 2019 that he didn't really want to comment on this. He didn't feel best placed to do so. But there is a feeling from that part of the world that maybe it's been sort of left behind a little bit, Jim, and I think they were voicing their opinion. And I don't agree with it. But I believe that sort of led to this disquiet, this discontent.
Is it Liverpool fans that's been alleged that were the...
Yes, it is.
Right, okay. I thought that side of the country, part of the country, the north, are very deeply patriotic and deeply committed to the monarchy. People elect governments. This is not about governments. This is about the royal family. The royal family don't have any intervention besides rubber stamping the nature of which government is elected by the people. So this is about people on that side of the country, and maybe I'm speaking generally. I was of the impression that part of the world had a deep-seated love for the monarchy of this country. Whether you do or I do, Martin, is academics in this conversation. Apparently, some people in that stadium feel the need to boo. They're not booing Boris Johnson and his ridiculous antics and Keir Starmer that can't identify what a woman is. They're booing the future king of this country.
Yeah.
And why would you want to do that? And it's got nothing to do with levelling up or how their country... It's got nothing to do with London fans making obscene, stupid observations in jest, I think, or think they're funny about the signing on culture in that part of the world, or people not wanting to go to work. That's banter. This is not banter, and it's poor banter, by the way. This is somebody disrespecting the fabric of this country.
You see,
and why would you want to do it?
But with respect,
And what
Simon,
logic?
you're saying exactly what the two politicians were saying that I quoted earlier on. They're saying exactly the same thing.
But they're saying it for different reasons. They're saying it because it gets themselves in a position where they can virtue signal about how they're the same people that would be quite happy to make other observations that are not necessarily good for the country. And they're jumping on the back of sport. We're in sport. I put my money where my mouth is in sport. Martin's put his where he's on the pitch, right? So
Yeah.
I have a right to observe to some extent. Politicians are parachuting in so they can get some headlines. This isn't necessarily about, and the tragedy of it is they're misplaced. They're saying this isn't, we can keep making this argument, and I make it all the time in defence of observations that you make when I think you're going off piste about being sensational about things. This does embody a section of our football supporters, and we need to stop saying it doesn't embody football fans, because tragically it does.
See, where I think you're going with this is this, Simon, if I'm right. Am I reading you right this morning? You're all for certain aspects of tribalism amongst supporters.
I am, yeah.
You're all for it because it's part of the game.
I am.
But you're dead against this. You cannot boo your own anthem.
Yeah, I don't think there's any necessity for it. I don't think it's a culture that we should want to encourage in this country. I think it's a spirit of an outlook and disposition that is not appropriate. And I don't think anyone of a sensible mindset would think that the future King of England, you see him on the front page of newspapers having gone and visited that wonderful lady that's dying of cancer and given her a damehood, and this is the kind of king that we might have, and people are sitting there booing it. I mean, you've got to be a special brand of moron to boo the national anthem. I can't relate to it. And if I could relate to it, I'd feel there's a bigger tragedy, because if I could relate to that kind of behaviour, then I've got a problem as much as they have. I can't relate to it. I can't see, whatever your grievance is about whatever country you live in, the argument that somehow, because there's difficulty in this climate, we're all having a difficult time with the cost of crisis living, right? Cost of living crisis. You boo the national anthem because you don't like the government.
You see, Simon, I think, Martin, in a situation like this, if you're anti the anthem for whatever reason, just shut up.
Yeah,
just shut
but
up.
I think what people can't do is separate the two, can they? From the royalty bit, from the monarchy to the government, they can't separate the two, and then the rich and poor and the royal family and the privilege, pomp and ceremony that goes with all of that, and then people are actually suffering.
Can you not just embrace the occasion before your team's about to play the FA Cup
final? But people are scrimped together to be there, and they want to make themselves heard on a public scale.
Not like that.
No, I don't agree with it, Jim, but I'm just saying as to what people are and what people are in certain parts of the country.
Have we heard any reasons? I mean, Martin's advancing probably a very balanced view, and it may well be that. But have we been given any understanding of why a certain segment of the fan base want to come to watch the FA Cup final?
There's one. I'll just fire one in, and then we're going to go for it. We'll take some calls the other side of this break. Okay? Why was the anthem booed? Were you one of those inside Wembley on Saturday evening booing the thing? If so, why? And what's your take on it? If you think it's wrong, come on and tell us what your take is on it and why it's wrong. 03717 223344 81089. This is one. Matt, Welling Garden City. Oh, we know you, Matt. You're a regular contributor. Booing the national anthem is fair play. Not everyone is a royalist, and the anthem is boring and outdated. Well, it ain't going to change now, Matt. I've news for you. What happened to freedom of speech? Says Matt in Welling Garden City. So you got a point? What happened to freedom of speech?
If you take it to its optimum level, yeah, he has. If you take it to its civilised discourse, then probably not. But if you take it to the optimum level that you have a right to say whatever you want, wherever you want to say it, and people have to accept in this day and age of freedom of speech that someone has a right to say something even if you abhor what they're saying, then of course under the Martin Luther King mantra, he has a right. But there's some things that don't need to be said and some things that don't need to be done.
Okay, so we're going to take some calls at the other side. If we keep this calm, we might get more to the root of it all, if you know where I'm going with it. Because why not take this opportunity to get this out? Why do people boo the national anthem?
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.